my people. I apologize if the bra shows a little bit. I wanted to wear my pretty maiden top, okay? It just makes you wanna, you know, marry me and go to a cottage in the woods. We can bake bread together and make quinoa. Maybe quinoa doesn't fit the aesthetic. Maybe I'm just desperate and single. I want to address something that happened recently. I can't stop thinking about this, and I think it brings up so many conversations. I haven't really done a video like this in a while where I honestly and candidly talk about a situation that was difficult for me, and I try to kind of pass on my expertise and my thoughts from that situation. I've done it a lot in the past when it comes to even my eating disorder recovery. If you're new to my channel, I actually weigh like 70 pounds more than I used to, and I'm recovered from an eating disorder. Hello. Subscribe if you're new. I can't stay on one topic too long, and when I talk about something serious, sometimes I make jokes. It's how I cope. I have dark humor. But subscribe if you're new. Every subscription is a ticket to move to a cottage with me so we can bake bread. Play the Shrek 2 soundtrack. Romantic. Wow. The Shrek 2 soundtrack? You shouldn't have. Oh my god. Also, my song Preach is coming out really soon. I think it's coming out next week by the time you're watching this. So set an alarm on your phone. I am staring at you until you click the link in my bio and pre-save. Do it. It's there. Oh, I never pre-save. Well, you're doing it now. I'm wearing a pretty princess shirt. Thank you. I promise I'm nice. Sometimes, no. Like this for more pretty princess shirts. I have no script or anything, no organization to this video, or really anything in my life, to be quite honest. That's something I should bring up in therapy. Anyways, I want to talk about the situation that was dramatic on my page. If you don't know, I had quite the week and I posted a pretty scary story. My mental state was really scary at the time, so I want everyone to know that I'm okay, but some people were like, you're just gonna do that and pretend nothing happened. If you think I did that for attention, you clearly don't know anything about me, because I have been through a lot in my life, and what I go through is very real. We have seen physical manifestations of that in watching me go through my eating disorder. What I feel is very real and scary, and I think sometimes there'll be one thing that's like the cherry on top, that the whole structure falls down. It'll seem like it's just that little bit of added weight that's contributing to my deteriorating mental state, when it's a lot of things that aren't always shown on camera, because I try to be as positive as possible for my people. So wanted to make that clear. I felt that way because of 20,000 other things that were going on in my life, including taking medication every day is extremely important, and especially if it's medication that affects your brain. And I had two medications that are extremely different but extremely intense on the brain if you don't take them, that I wasn't able to get in time. I was off them for 5 days. It was also right before my birthday, and then this situation happened. So literally, like, my brain was chemically not normal. Anyways, let's talk about the actual situation here. So what was the cherry on top, you ask? Well, I accidentally posted a photo with full boobs out. You're probably like, how would you do that? There were so many pictures from the shoot I loved, and I guess like my thought wasn't to look at my boobs while I posted it. And to be really honest, I was in a rush to post something at the time, like at the direct moment, so I wasn't looking at each slide. We did so many cool things with that shoot that I just added in like anything that looked cool for a second. Like I think it was like 10 slides. It was only up for like 3 minutes. I instantly took it down. I posted on my story. I was like, hey, if anyone took a screenshot of this, please get rid of it. It's so funny because people, and by people I don't mean my people, I mean men that follow me, that only follow me for everything but what I have to say. It's so silly that these men, their first thought, it was that I did this all for attention. And they said that to justify what they were doing, which was redistributing this photo and making sure I never forget about it. It's all about what I look like, and they don't give any whatever about what I have to say, which is what I kind of started my whole channel on. Way before I was on Instagram, way before I ever even posted, I don't know, like bikini photos online, I have been a YouTuber. My content has always been focused on what I have to say, so there's a lot of irony in completely bashing everything I have to say and only being able to kindly talk about the way I look. Actually, that's being way too nice. They are not being kind with the way they talk about how I look. Some people are going to say it's my fault that I attract these types of followers, but really it isn't. It is so beyond upsetting that my intentions are absolute in someone else's mind when I am saying that they are otherwise, and they are the complete opposite. And this is not me bashing on women that fully post themselves exposed, because I would never do this, because that's done with their consent, and this was done without my consent. I did not mean to post that. It was up 2 minutes, and I asked everyone to delete it. I don't expect to change the world, because the world's really gross, especially towards women, but you know, I think I can use my platform to further talk about this. Let me continue my story and rant. Okay, posted these photos, and lots of these men were saying I did it for attention because I'm releasing a song soon, which like is so beyond different from the type of person I am. So it's so weird hearing someone so confidently talk about who you are as a person when I'm saying otherwise, and I live with myself every day, and I know that's just not true. So, lots of things to dissect here, but when I posted those photos, it was like 2 days before my birthday. I was just experiencing a lot. I couldn't get my medications, and suddenly I accidentally posted my whole chest, and it was just like, again, there's nothing against people that do that, but that wasn't my intention, and that wasn't my purpose, so I got really angry and stressed, had a panic attack, and absolutely hysterically cried. I've been through just so much in my life where my body just hasn't felt like mine, so it brought up a lot of very scary old thoughts. I had one of my best friends who's really nice and supportive say, no one even saw it, I just checked your tagged pictures, it's not gonna be anywhere. But like, I think if you haven't been in a situation like this before, you know, you might not know how it works, where people are gonna hold on to it and wait for that opportune moment. There's always someone that is watching that is going to screenshot and keep that image forever. You always have to rely on that, and it's not an intrusive thought because it has happened to me before. When I was extremely underweight, suffering from my eating disorder, I used to go live on Instagram all the time, and my clothes were like falling off of me. Chest was also exposed. That is completely also done without my consent. I didn't know my clothes were falling off of me, and I saw those photos for the first time in the past year. So it was 3 years later, which means someone held on to those photos and they kept bringing them up and using them for their own sick, really dehumanizing reasons. I was 18, so if I was 17, it would have been different because there would have been bigger repercussions. I can't help but feel angry that I wasn't 17 years old. Angry at myself, like it is my fault that I was 18 and I got myself in this situation. Sending these photos when girls don't want you to have them and it's not done with their consent is an issue that people just nod at after you turn 18 years old, and it's upsetting. It's really upsetting. My whole life, I have dealt with really scary situations where I felt out of control with my own body, whether it's people repurposing these underweight photos of me or trigger warning for SA. I have experienced lots of SA before I like really had a kiss. Besides like a little peck, I had no one in my business. I had an SA experience in broad daylight. No one cared. That was my first experience ever in public. So I can't help but feel angry because how I feel about situations is constantly diminished. And then when something so hard for me is belittled to something that I'm doing to promote my next song, it's just dehumanizing. You don't get to repurpose my photos without my consent and feel okay about it by totally switching my intentions up and pretending I don't have feelings. These people that only follow me for my shell, basically, the first thing they will always go for is my mental health. They will always belittle me because of my mental health. I am just mentally ill, which also, in their head, allows them to continue doing what they're doing, because I'm just a mentally ill girl. They don't get what they want from me, and the first thing they go for is me dealing with many mental illnesses throughout my life. And it's so beyond upsetting. Anyways, there's been Twitter accounts dedicated to just tweeting me this photo. They will follow every one of my fan accounts, and they will just continue to tweet them this photo. I have reported them to Twitter, and I'm not gonna lie, Twitter's done absolutely nothing. It makes me feel really alone in everything. Really alone. There's men that are making it a big deal by tweeting this to every one of my fan accounts, and then there's other men telling me at the same time it's not a big deal at all. Weeks later, I have people that are taking hours out of their day to respond to every person that follows me on Twitter and tweet them this photo of me, which is so much effort. And then me saying I don't feel okay about it. I'm putting too much into this. I'm being dramatic. I'm bringing too much energy into this. It happens so often whenever I respond to something that isn't okay, suddenly it's my fault. If I respond to it, it's like, you shouldn't have responded to it. Now you're asking for it. You're never asking for it. I'm sorry. This is something that happens like even beyond this, even beyond being misogynistic and so on. Like, I'll respond to someone telling me I looked better when I was skinny, which is such a disgusting thing to say to someone. To tell someone they looked better when they had an eating disorder, someone that has suffered from that, is one of the worst things you can do. People will tell me, get a thicker skin, you should have known that you signed up for this by being online. I didn't sign up for it. No one signs up for this. No one deserves this. I can still have a creative career and say that's not okay. I knew I was gonna get hate comments, but I didn't sign up to be a YouTuber to be told every day that I looked better when I had an eating disorder. It's so weird because when I was struggling with that eating disorder, I also received a lot of judgment. People were trying to cancel me for not addressing my weight when I was just a girl that was so young and living alone, and a big part of that disease is being in denial. And I was being blamed for this disease that I didn't even know I had because it's part of the disease. Like, it's so crazy to me. By standing up for myself, I am asking for people to tell me I looked better when I was skinny. You know, it's not the person that wrote the comments' fault, it's mine. That happens so often. Because I respond and I get angry, it is my fault. And suddenly the comment in question is okay and was something I asked for because I responded. And sure, responding to hate comments can sometimes bring about more hate comments, but I have so many people that follow me and believe in me and are young or are going through similar things, and I feel like I'm doing the people that follow me and myself a disservice by receiving these comments and not saying anything and just taking it. Like, what type of message is that? For someone to comment something so atrocious and for me to just sit there and say nothing. There's a quote that I love. Women that are well behaved rarely make history was kind of the point, and I think obviously there's like, you know, some situations where this doesn't make sense, but I think in my situation it does make sense and it can be applied. Am I doing anything by just sitting there and teaching the women that follow me, the people that have struggled with their mental health that follow me, the queer people that follow me, all of you guys, like, am I being a good role model by just not saying anything when someone talks to me that way? It's so funny because I don't only respond to the hate comments, I respond to so many of the kind comments. Do you follow me on Twitter? It's like such a dumb generalization that isn't even true that I only respond to the hate. It's just people are inclined to watch drama unfold. Maybe you're only paying attention to the hate that I respond to and not the good things I'm doing as well. I don't know. This is a whole side tangent, but I think it's relevant. And this isn't to say that women can't be part of the problem as well. I had one woman comment, "There's a war, why?" It's so silly to tell someone they're not allowed to feel things and cry because there's a war going on. What is suppressing my emotions and pretending I'm not hurt and scared because of this thing that happened to me? How is me just suppressing that going to stop a war? How is me feeling upset and hurt going to even affect the war? I think I am really allowed to feel upset in this situation, and I'm definitely a privileged person, but this is about my body being objectified and my personal situation right now. So I made a video where I had a mental breakdown on my TikTok, and I talked about how I've been told I'm controversial, and that's why it really upset me. Because to be really honest, there is a large part of me that disagrees with the fact that any woman should ever feel fear of showing more of her body for being too controversial. I don't believe that any woman that's ever had a photo of herself that is revealing, that is out there, should ever have any issues being hired or being seen as controversial, because I think bodies are just bodies. They just get us through the day. Men are allowed to walk around shirtless. There's a lot more wardrobe issues that can happen for females. It is so easy to accidentally post a in my brain, it should be fine. It should be whatever. It's less of what I think about the situation, and it's more of I have a fear of how other people will treat me, because I don't think I'm controversial. I think someone that's controversial is someone that's been canceled by managers I've worked with. I've been told I'm too controversial, and there's never been an exact reason for it, and I don't know if it's because there weren't as many queer female YouTubers, if that was part of it. I never knew or understood. And a comment like that sticks with you, because those are the people that are hiring you for things. And not feeling supported by a whole industry because you're being told you're controversial and not knowing what that means, it makes me feel out of control in my life, which is a common theme of my life. And that was really what was stressing me out more than anything, was, oh my god, I've been constantly trying to seem less controversial, and now this photo of me is out there without my permission. I've been told my photos are controversial now versus before I gain weight. Recovered from an eating disorder, my body looks completely different. I am a more curvy woman now. I suddenly feel like my photos are seen as more controversial. It'll be a photo of me smiling in a bikini, but because my is fat, it's controversial and sexy. I've always posted bikini photos when I was super small, but those photos weren't seen as controversial, versus now, since I've gained weight and I'm curvier, they are suddenly seen as controversial. But I was always showing the same amount of skin, it's just I look different. It's upsetting, and it's a conversation that is way beyond my own story. It's so much bigger than myself. I feel like if someone has really big, for example, I don't know, no matter what she wears, she might be seen as being scandalous or controversial. To see it affect your career is even more upsetting. It's not what I believe in, it's a fear of something out of my control contradicting what other people believe in. It's honestly why I want to lean more and more into music, because that part of my job, buying my music merch, you should go buy that music merch and support. It's linked down below. Focusing more on my music, that's something where in that world it matters a lot less. It definitely can still matter for sure, but at least with my music career, I'm a little bit more in control. Me promoting my song and my song having more streams is a direct way of supporting my income without having to depend on a brand seeing me as being too controversial. So anyways, it's just been very hard for me to suddenly have the way I'm seen completely shift. I know this situation is so much bigger than just what I am experiencing, because it's not just something I experience. And a lot of people were sympathizing, and a lot of people were empathetic, and a lot of people also had their own experiences that were similar. They basically sent me messages that were just like, the way you feel is okay and valid, and I felt that way too. Sometimes that's all you need to hear to feel better, because sometimes I read those comments where it's like, she's being dramatic, And I believe it. I'm like, I'm being so over the top. I don't deserve to be upset about this issue. But I do. I think it'd be easy for me to just be like, yeah, I don't believe in them and what they're saying. But it's not that easy. Gaslighting works. Don't take that out of context. That's gonna be a meme on Twitter. One thing I've really been practicing is just, if something's difficult, acknowledging that it's not okay, because pretending everything's fine and being like it's gonna be okay isn't the way to feel better, especially when a situation is messed up. I think it's a really bad piece of advice to try to convince people that are going through something difficult to think about a war instead. That's not going to help anything. I really do love my music side of things because I feel very in control of my narrative. I'm so creatively involved in everything you see. Like, I write all the creatives for my music videos, I spend all the money myself, I am the one that comes up with the merch design ideas. I'm basically a one-woman team and everything comes from my brain, and it's kind of like building my own brand. And when it comes to my own brand, obviously I don't care if there's a photo of me topless out there, but when it comes to these other brands, you know, I can be seen as quote-unquote controversial. So I mean, really the goal is to hopefully feel more empowered in my own creations, where hopefully I can just really do that and not worry if it is controversial and if it is gonna upset people. Sorry you can see my boobs, sorry I have cleavage. So that's kind of how I feel. It's so silly to assume that anyone's body is anyone else's but their own. I should be the one, you know, making the call. I don't feel comfortable with that photo. I feel comfortable with my bra showing online, you know? One thing doesn't equate to another thing, and there's just no, you deserved this. But it was just so funny that 99.9% of the people that were telling me I was just making a big deal out of nothing, I couldn't help but notice they were men. And there are separate struggles that men have to suffer with, don't get me wrong, but like, there is a different fear when it comes to women. Women forever have been shunned and belittled for seeming too sexual in any way, and unfortunately it does somehow affect my career, something that I've worked on since I was so young, that is so authentic and important to me, and is like, honestly, my life's work, kind of. Like, this is something that I've worked on more than half of my life that means so much to me, and the fact that it's affected by that, of course it's going to upset me. That's an intense thing. Once you experience something, it is a completely different thing where you feel it and you understand it. So a lot of these people, I'm just like, you will never be in my same situation, these podcast men, so why even try to control how I feel about it if you don't even know how you would feel in that situation, because you are in a position where you will never be in that situation. Moving forward, I can't change the world, but hopefully I can do more music. Because, right, this was all just one big ploy for me to promote my song next week. Because I had a horrible panic attack and get tweeted this photo of me without my consent every day for fun. I really enjoy it, absolutely. And then my intelligence, my mental health being determined by all these men online based on how I react. So much fun for me. Oh my god, what a great time. No, I want to do it so that I'm more in control of what I can say and who I can be. I just want Gen Z to be in those power positions where they don't give two Fs if your boobs have been posted online, because I don't think the majority of them will care. I know I wouldn't. If I was in the position of power, I'd be like, so? I'm Gen Z, by the way. Anyways, that is how I feel. Just wanted to talk about this situation, wanted to bring up how I feel about it, and I don't know, maybe this is relatable for someone, interesting. Let me know if you want more videos like this. I could go off. So I love my people. I think technically I won't be seeing you next week because the music video will be up, and I'm excited for you to see this music video. I worked really hard with the editing. I loved my concept for it. If you love Barbie, it's gonna be really interesting for you. I wrote this song April of like 2021. Wasn't intentional, but it's actually very relevant to this conversation, so. And I'm gonna show my fan pages on the screen. Get it, they're fan pages. I'm Jessie Page, in case you didn't know. And your posts. My people are so talented. I love you so much. Thank you for listening if you made it this far. I bet a lot of people didn't, I don't know. I love you. See you next Saturday with a music video. Actually, it's gonna be up Friday night. Love you, bye-bye!